What to do, YouTube? MJM for life here. Finally, get back again, bringing you guys another Yu-Gi-Oh video. This time, we're going to be talking about the artifact archetype. And this archetype is an archetype that was incredibly hyped up when people first heard about it. And it was one of those decks where, kind of like how Shadal's is now, where every other match was against an artifact deck. And this deck received a lot of hype, but then when it finally came out and was released to the TCG, it just didn't have the impact that maybe people initially thought it would. And I think the you obviously you saw hand artifact trap tricks. I mean that just recently won the World Championship qualifiers. But that's not an artifact deck. That's not based around artifacts. It's basically it's kind of just like an eclectic smorgasbord of stuff. But I mean, just like pure artifacts itself, I mean, it's not seeing much play. And so I mean, I guess the question that you have to ask, and that I have to ask, is, can this archetype compete? We're going to get into some dual videos, and then I'll kind of explain the kind of artifact deck that I've come up with and created. So we'll just get right into it. The first match is going to be against zombies. And we'll wait for it to load up. Then we'll swap the sides. So, I don't remember who went first. He went first. Alright, so he's going to go first. He's going to set a bunch of stuff. He set what is it? Spirit Reaper. He sets a Phoenix Chain. Set a Dimensional Prison. Now I'm going first. I'm going to special summon the Solar Windjammer. Activate the Instant Fusion and go for Gilta, the D Knight. Then I'm going to go for Tyrus. Just because I didn't want to run into like a Miracle or something. But I'm going to attack and then target his back row. But he actually just Phoenix changed me. Maybe he should have deprisoned me. I'm pretty sure he probably should have deprisoned that instead. But it's fine. I'm just going to set one. What did I set? I think Solemn Warning, and then end my turn. He's going to set another monster, which happens to be the Pyramid Turtle, and then he is going to pass his turn. I'm going to get a double Cyclone. I'm not going to activate that obviously just yet. I'm going to wait until maybe on his turn and just pop something in his back row. So now he's going to go for something that I've never really seen before, which is this Kasha. And what this does is you can special summon if you control 2 or more face-up zombie-type monsters, and then when the special summon, you shuffle all other monsters on the field, and then these things attack for each zombie-type monster shuffled times 1,000. So I would have gotten 2,000 attack. I just saw him going there because I was like, I don't know what type of crazy combo was involved with Kasha, but I'm not going to deal with it. Now here I'm going to double Space Typhoon. I hit my Beagle attack on his turn. I'm going to get the effect. Obviously not going to activate at that time. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to normal summon my Star Drawing. Go for Volcasaurus. I'm activating this effect to destroy that Pyramid Turtle, so he doesn't get any searches. Then I'm going to go for the Gaia Charger. Then I'm going to attack with Tyrus. And then I'm going to attack with the Gaia Charger. He decides not to deprison my Tyrus, but instead to deprison the Gaia Charger so he doesn't take damage. But I'm still able to pop a card on the field because Tyrus attacked. So I got rid of the Spirit Reaper. So I basically did what I wanted to do. So now he's going to normal summon the Zombie Master. Activate its effect to get back Spirit Reaper. I believe I had something to stop that. I had nope, I didn't. Never mind. Now he's going to go for Sorcery Revealing Light. During the end phase, I'm just going to double Cyclone that as well. So no stalling for you. And then I'm going to get my Beagle Tech onto his field. I believe he quit somewhere soon after this. Now I'm going to activate Instant Fusion. I'm going to go for Gilta again. Then I'm overlay for Pleiades. So pretty much, I mean, it's all over for him at this point. Tyrus is going to pop the Spirit Reaper again. And, well, actually, Spirit Reaper kind of destroys itself because it was targeted. But now, basically, I mean, looking at his hand, he's got nothing. He's got a Mizuki. He's got some other stuff. And I'm just going to go for Pleiades. Send that junk right back to his hand. So he can't do anything. And I believe it is at this point that, yeah, he decides to call it a day. He's had enough. So that was a good match, I guess. The next match is against Hieratic Hazing Flames. And this is an example of a card that doesn't see much play, but I think has a lot of potential and you'll see what I'm talking about later in the match. Alright, here we go. So, he's going first. He's got an interesting hand. He's got a bunch of spell and traps. Forbidden Tome, or it's called Forbidden Scripture. And you don't see that, but I don't even know what this does. I think it like stops what is it? Monster control battles until it's unaffected by other cards. Okay, cool. Anyway, I set 3 and ended. I've got a movement, I've got a morale tech, I've got a compulse, so I'm pretty good against whatever. Basically, I'm just gonna play the slow game, and this probably is part of the reason maybe why artifacts haven't seen too much play, because sometimes you just have to sit and wait and play passive. And I know certain decks are, I think a lot of the people like passive aggressive decks. Not just passive. They can be passive, but they're also aggressive. I don't think artifacts is really can be considered a passive aggressive deck. It's kind of really passive because you just gotta wait and just wait and wait and wait until they destroy your stuff. And sometimes, destroying your own stuff isn't necessarily the best idea, because if they've got, 4 back row, and you waste a Space Typhoon on your own and Beagle Tech, then you run into a bottomless, now you just look silly. So here, I don't understand why he went for Black Rose there. He saw that I was playing artifacts, and yet he still decided to go for Black Rose. I don't think that that's the best decision ever. So I'm able to get 3 monsters on my turn. He's already normal summoned. He's already done everything, and he destroyed. He went super duper minus. Now the card that I was mentioning, alluding to earlier, was this card, Dark Coffin. And if you don't know what it does, because it doesn't really see much play, when this face down card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, your opponent selects and executes one of the following effects. So discard one random card from their hand, or select a monster on their field and destroy it. So now here, using Durendo, I'm going to force him to destroy my card. So he wanted to activate Reckless Greed. Instead of drawing 2 cards, he actually doesn't draw anything, and he loses his hand because he had to select his effect. So for example, if you don't have a monster on your field, then you cannot select to destroy one monster on your field effect. So therefore, instead of drawing 2 cards, he actually ended up with nothing in his hand, and now he's top decking against a Durendo and a Pleiades, and then I would have set 2 Call of the Haunted. So if he top decks like a Dark Hole, I can just have Durendo change that effect. So this card, Dark Coffin, I think is a card that has a lot of potential in Artifact, especially when you get out Durendo and force them to destroy it. Now they're going -2. Now this next match is against Evolves. This is another interesting, older deck. So I believe he went first. Nope, I went first this time. So I'm going to set 2 Dark Coffin and a card D, and then end my turn with the card D effect. So now he's going to go. He's got he's got some good cards in his hand. You'd always want to open up with the Westlow when you're playing Evolves. I think Westlow plus Baylor is really good, because then they can't destroy it like a bear or something. Anyway, so I didn't have much, so I'm going to have to card D again. But that's fine, because if you're going to set cards, I'm completely fine playing the slow game. So he's going to set some more cards. Here I'm going to double Cyclone. I hit my Dark Coffin, and one of his back rows, Dark Coffin, forces him to either discard or destroy a monster on his field. Then I'm going to movement another back row, getting rid of this Evo Singularity, which is actually a good card. Basically allows them to go for any one of the Evo Exceed monsters if they have an Evo Tile and an Evo Light monster in their graveyard. So that's actually really good. It's like a 1-card Logia, basically. So now I'm going to normal summon the Star Drawing. I'm going to activate it, or normal summon Star Drawing, activate Instant Fusion, then I'm going to attack over his face down. Turns out to be a Diplo. He Diplos the wrong, he Diplos the right card, unfortunately for him. But it's no big deal, because I believe I drew into a Call of the Haunted. Yeah, I did, so it's not a big deal. Plus I also have movement. So I'm good to go here. So now what I'm going to do is ignore this phone call. I'm going to go Call of the Haunted. He's actually going to wiretap that. And here's I don't really like the wiretap card, just as a a side note. I think it's minus. It doesn't get rid of the trap. I honestly think that 7 tools is better, just in my opinion. So now he's going to flip up the Westfold, attempt to activate the effect. I'm definitely not going to have that happen. And he hits Dark Coffin. And if he would have hit anything, it would have been good for me. So now he's forced. He decides to get rid of a card in his hand. Maybe I would have destroyed a monster on the field. Maybe he just didn't want to leave himself open, and that's why he decided that. But again, now look at this. He's got no cards in his hand, and at the end of his turn, he won't have any cards on his field. I've got Durendo, and I've got Call of Haunted for later. So if he wants to activate anything that has an effect, Durendo's going to stop that, and then give me a Beagle Tech out of that. So again, Dark Coffin putting in work and showing you its potential. Also, this next, actually we'll do this one last, because that one was a really good one. So this next match is going to be against Agents. So I believe he went first this match. Yeah, because he normal summons Earth the first turn. So yeah, he's going to go for Earth, normal summon the Agent of Mystery Earth, and hold on, is this the right? Hold on. My bad, guys. My bad. I think this is it the right one? This may not be the right. Well, we're gonna watch it anyway. I think this might be the other artifact deck that I had. Anyway, so he summons what is this? Hyperion, and then has a set of Tarantula and a Threatening Roar. I set everything. So now he's gonna go for his Venus, I don't want to deal with Agachi, so I'm just going to destroy that right away. Then I'm going to movement one of his back rows and put down my Morale attack. Then I believe I'm going to double Cyclone after that on his attack. Yep, I'm going to double Cyclone, hitting the Beagle Tech and his other face down, which happens to be the Mirror Force. Then Beagle Tech is going to activate, and I'm going to destroy by 2 back rows, one of them being the Dark Coffin, the other one being the Morale Tech. So now here he makes a misplay, because he opted to discard a card from his hand. So what he should have done was destroy a face-up monster, because now instead of only losing 1 card, now he's going to lose 2 cards. Maybe I think that's due to his unfamiliarity with Dark Coffin. And but yeah, so now I basically got rid of the entire field. And now I'm just going to go for a Durendo. I'm going to set this so just in case he has a card like Torrential Tribute or Bottomless, I'm going to be able to change that effect. Now I will lose out on my Beagle Tech, but I was able to save my Durendo, and I think that's much more important at this stage of the game because he's basically top decking. So now I'm going to set the Instant Fusion, so that way if he top decks anything with an effect, I can change it and force him to go minus. He's going to top deck a Shine Ball. That's not going to help him. He's going to normal summon it just to show me what he drew, and then he's going to end his turn. So once again, Dark Coffin showing you its power, putting in the work, and forcing players to go minus. Now, the last duel of this video is against an Artifact Dragon Ruler player. This was an interesting deck, I thought. So he's going to show me the Dragontron, so I'm like, okay, Dragon Ruler, that's cool. I think with this, we can handle Dragon Rulers. And with this hand, man, this hand was pretty decent. We had a movement, we've got Morale Tech, we've got Solemn Warning, which I didn't want to set just in case. And then we've got Swift Scarecrow. But then he shows me the double movement, so I was like, wow. Now I have no idea what I'm going up against. But yeah, he double movements me. He probably should have activated 1 and then activated another because he lost out on the second movement effect. So that was a slight misplay on his part. I'm going to movement one of his back row. I'm going to movement the Morale Attack, and then I'm going to set the Dark Coffin and set the Warning. He's going to activate the it's not Theosophy anymore, it's Sanctum. He's going to go for Beagle Tech, pop his 2 back rows, and then he's going to go for this the artifacts off Caduceus, and another Beagle Tech, draw 1 off of Caduceus. I don't really think, I mean, a lot of people were hyping up Caduceus, in the very beginning, but I think people realized, ultimately that it's not as good as people initially once thought it was. But anyway, now he's going to activate another Dragon Sign. You see a Curse of Dragon in there. I think that's for his, to support his artifacts for rank 5 plays. But he's going to go for Tyrus. I'm not having any of that. I mean, I wouldn't actually mind him destroying my back row. He knew I was playing artifacts, so I'm not sure why he went for Tyrus, but I'm just going to stop it anyway. Maybe because I didn't want him to accidentally hit my warning. I don't know. Maybe I didn't have to do that, but I did. So now he's going to move his Caduceus to attack mode. I'm not going to activate Swift Scarecrow because there's really no need. Now I'm going to normal summon the Card D, get 2 draws, hoping to draw into something good. I do draw into the Solar Windjammer plus another Swift Scarecrow, so you're definitely good for anything he's going to want to do. Now he ends up tributing his Caduceus for a Nebthet. Now he's going to activate some Dragon Rulers. He's trying to go for game here, but he doesn't know that I have the Swift Scarecrow, so I'm going to activate that. And now main phase 2, he's going to attempt to go for Dragosack, and he goes for the 2 tokens. Not a problem for me because I know that next turn I'm going to have a Pleiades, and I'm just going to send that shit right back to the extra deck so I don't have to deal with it. So I'm going to draw into another card D, not going to use it, I'm just going to Solar Windjammer, then I'm going to activate Instant Fusion for that Giltia, and then I'm going to go for a Pleiades, bounce back to Dragosack, and then attack over the Nebthet, and now he's left with 2 tokens on his field. And now, what card do I have set? I've got a Beagle Tech, I've got a Morale Tech, and I've got a Dark Coffin. So now he's going to draw into a Heretic Seal, so he's just going to thin his deck, search for a Tapnuit, so whenever I do go run over his tokens, he'll have some plays to go for. And since I don't have much in my hand, I'm just going to set the call, and then activate the Card D. Call will allow me to get the Morale Tech, and then pop any one of his face-up monsters. So now here, he's going to Tribute for Tapnuit, and then activate his Blaster. And I believe he banishes the Tapnuit for the Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and I'm not having any of that Red Eyes Darkness Metal nonsense, so I'm just going to go for Morale Tech and just pop that thing straight away. And then he just ends his turn. I guess he didn't want to run into any of my potential back rows, but I didn't have anything, so now what I'm going to do is activate Instant Fusion, go for another Giltia, then I'm going to go for another Pleiades, so now it's just double Pleiades. Now I did make a misplay because I would have won the game with Bulbasaurus plus Gaia Charger, I believe. Basically, I just wanted to see if he could come out of this because also I wanted to see more of his deck because artifact, Dragon Rulers is definitely an interesting concept. So now what I'm gonna do is activate double tornado or double cyclone on my turn, popping one of his back rows. But unfortunately, it turned out to be a sanctum. So now I'm kind of in a tough spot because what I'm gonna do is activate the Pleiades effect to bounce back my own Pleiades. That's because I only run 2. So and then I'm gonna use the other one's effect to bounce back his token. So because I knew I was gonna lose both of them anyway. And then I'm gonna force him to discard a random hand again. Dark Coffin, putting some work in, forcing him to top deck. He's going to top deck into a Tapnuit, and it's not going to help him out. So now he's going to attack with his Morale Tech. Luckily, my misplay didn't end up, my kind of, not going for game when I could didn't end up costing me. So I'm going to just Color the Haunted and pop his Morale Tech. Now on my turn, I can just attack him directly for 21. So now I'm back into the driver's seat. I'm back in control. I kind of lost control there for not going for game when I could have. But now he's going to special summon Stefan. He top decks into a Sue, so now he's going to be able to get off some shenanigans that way. Going to go for the Bouncer, and then he's going to activate his Blaster and attempt to win for game because if I have Morale Tech, obviously Bouncer will stop that. But he doesn't know that I have Compulse, so I'm going to go Compulse. Then I'm going to go Beagle Tech. Then I'm going to go Beagle Tech, pop 2, then get out my Morale Tech and my other Beagle Tech, pop his Blaster, and then that's going to be game. So I can attack with all of them on my next turn. Because I don't think he had enough dragons in his graveyard at this point to special summon any other dragon rulers. So, and that's the exact reason why I waited. So now I'm just going to attack with all my artifacts to finish off the game. And that was a good game. That was probably one of the best games I've had with this deck. And his deck was really, really interesting. I really liked his concept of artifact dragon rulers. That's interesting. So those are the dual. So now let's get on to the archetype discussion. So you've got all these artifact cards, and a lot of them, they have interesting effects like Scythe. They can't special summon from their extra deck for the rest of this turn. Is an interesting card, but it just, a lot of these cards just don't stack up. So honestly, of all the artifact cards, Morale Tech and Beagle Tech are the best two monsters, and then obviously Durendo, Artifact Sanctum, and Artifact Ignition are probably the really good cards. I mean the artifacts, they're a decent archetype, but the problem is they're, as I mentioned earlier, they're just too slow. The TCG is a much slower format than the OCG. The OCG has like triple Torrential Tribute, Heavy Storm. They got all this crazy stuff in the OCG that we just don't have. Our format is much slower. And case in point, Hat Tricks, which is a slow deck winning the World Championship qualifiers. But even Hat Tricks, it has some offensive plays and it has some. I describe it as passive aggressive. It's a slower deck, but it's not. You wouldn't necessarily call it slow because they're plussing all over the place. Whereas artifacts, sometimes the biggest problem with artifacts is it has a lot of consistency issues. I think that's probably the biggest hindrance, and that's probably what shied people away from it. Because when I tested like a just straight up pure artifact build, I ran into a ton of consistency issues. So as a result, I've taken out all the unnecessary artifacts, or the artifacts that I've deemed to be unnecessary, and kind of made a much faster build. So only artifacts I'm running: triple Morale Tech and triple Beagle Tech. And then what I'm also teching is a Solar Windjammer, really good. It just facilitates the rank 5 play much quicker, as well as along with Star Drawing and then Instant Fusion as well. So obviously, as you saw with Instant Fusion and this, I can go for Pleiades, which is really good because Pleiades is a nice, powerful stunning card. So I can stun him on, have a stun aspect turn 1 if I want to, and that's something that a normal artifact deck just can't do. Or I can stun him with a Durendo. If I go Solar Windjammer into Star Drawing, draw a card off of that, then set a Morale Tech, set a Beagle Tech, set a Dark Coffin. I can stun him with I can also stun him with Durendo. The other cards I'm running, triple card card D. Obviously, if you're gonna be mostly time you're gonna be setting cards, so card card D is really good in this deck. And also Swift Scarecrow, it helps with the Solar Windjammer, as well as you won't lose the game, because sometimes when you have those slower hands, Swift Scarecrow really helps out a lot. Gosh, it's almost like a tongue twister. Obviously, Artifact Ignition. And Double Cyclone, another powerful card if used correctly. As you saw, sometimes if you have this set, you can even Double Cyclone on your turn. because typically you wouldn't want to do that if you have artifact card set, unless you're going to go for game and you're afraid of the back row. But double cycloning this card is another MVP card, Dark Coffin. You guys saw how it worked in those duels, and it put a lot of pressure on the opponent, especially when they try to, like, if they don't know what they're playing against and they blind space it. Now they just went -2 because they lost their Space Typhoon and they lost another card from their hand. Or I guess it's technically -1 because I lost a card as well. So they go -1 instead of kind of going neutral. And then, I mean, all these other cards are self-explanatory. Call of the Haunted, really, really good. You can bring back the Morale-Tech and, kind of and pop a monster on the field. You can bring back Feeble Tech and pop your back rows. Maybe pop 2 Dark Coffins or something like that. So it's really, really good. So now as far as the active deck, we've got triple guilds here. We've got 2 Gaia Charger, 1 Wind Up Zen Mayo, 1 Tyrus, 2 Pleiades, 2 Volcasaurus, 2 Durendo, 1 Shark Fortress, which I never make, and then 1 what is this, Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja, which I never make. But it's just there to have 15 cards in extra deck. Basically, the only thing I can make is rank 5s. So I guess some cards to think about putting in here, maybe like a Baylor, some Maxis. I don't have a side deck yet, but I think that this is probably the most effective artifact deck, because I've been testing this deck out for a while to see, to answer that question, can this archetype compete? And this is the best way that I found that this archetype can compete, because you've got to speed it up, because it's just too slow. There's slow, and then there's too slow. So that's going to do it for this archetype discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to leave a like or a comment. Also, if you have any artifacts that you want me to look deeper into, or have any ideas for the next Can This Archetype Compete video, feel free to leave a comment about that. Because, I mean, there's a ton of archetypes out there, and a ton of archetypes, and a ton of them are being underused. And the real question is, why are these things being underused? And I'm hoping to delve deeper into those reasons. So as far as artifacts are concerned, the deck is just too slow, and it has a lot of inconsistent issues. So that's why people aren't playing it, even though it was super, super hyped up when it first got announced. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and all the other good stuff that I already said. I'm out of here. Deuces.